Hello and welcome to Special Stage and the Pokerstars Rally 2019. Now, as you can see, once again, it's very wet here on the Isle of Man, but this rally actually started last night and it was a very different story. 2019 will see the usual faces and some new names on the entry list for the Pokerstars Rally, and the Friday would be dry, certainly making a change from previous years. Last year's winner Jamie Jukes leads the cruise away, with previous winner and Manx champion Aaron Newby behind. John Stone makes the trip over for the event this weekend in the Fiesta WRC. The stages would once again get underway in the dark. 8 stages planned for this evening, but due to dangerous conditions with freezing temperatures and ice on the stages, the route would be shortened to just 4 stages. Onto those stages then, and it would be the lead for Aaron Newby and Rob Fagg, but it wasn't a big one. In fact, only a single second of an advantage at the end of the opening day.
And you have to watch it from here. Whoa. And wet on water, 5 right, into slippy 3 left, and flat right, and 6 left, watch it, 5 right plus, 40, and 5 right plus, and 5 left, 5 right, and 40 slowing, shiny 3 left.
Second place would belong to Jamie Jukes and James Morgan. They were clearly on a mission to keep hold of that trophy from last year, about as close as it could be going into the second day. Things were going well for Stu Bainborough and Paula Swinsko. Third place at this stage, but with a bit of a bigger gap to the 2 ahead. The car sporting a Remembrance Day themed livery this weekend. Steve Colley and Mark Rodman returned to the stages this weekend for their first competitive outing on the Manx lanes in a while. And clearly none of the pace had gone. 4th place for the pair at this stage. This weekend will be the first time on the Isle of Man for Mark Kelly, slightly more experienced co-driver Neil Coleman alongside. They make a good start to take the Class D lead in the opening stages. And taking the lead in Class C would be Martin Jones and Cleon Williams. Martin, one of the few drivers who would have preferred the rain this evening, evening things out for the Nova driver. But despite the lack of rain, he was going well in 6th. A last-minute co-driver change would see Andy Davies drafting in Max Freeman. They start the day with 7th place overall, just 5 seconds back from Jones after stage 4. They would be one of many to get caught out on the ice, overshooting this junction, and luckily with plenty of room to get away without any damage, just a few seconds lost.
Long 4 right in, into 5 left, into 2 right, and 2 left water.
A change of car this weekend for Timmy and Cleona Collins, back out in an Evo for this event. They end the opening day with 8th place overall. George and Graham Collister take 2nd place in Class D now. The son and father team having plenty of combined experience on these stages, so there was no surprise that they were going well in that BMW. And rounding out the top 10 overall would be John Stone and Charlotte Shimmin. Unfortunately, a bit of an overshoot would lose the pair a little time, but they were still close to a few crews ahead, so there would still be a chance at climbing the results on day 2. Craig Jones and Ian Taylor will be sitting just outside the top of the results with 11th place overall. They would be one of the many getting caught out on that ice. Hitting a bank in stage 3, they luckily get away with it and continue without losing too much time.
Watch it now, very slippy through here. 3 right, black ice now, 5 left.
For Alan McDowell and Gavin Hesseltine, it would be 3rd place in Class D. The cadet crew going well this weekend so far, with 12th place overall too. Kevin Davies and Dylan Jenkins had gone well here previously, This weekend though, it would be a little further down the results. They end the day with 2nd in Class C and 13th overall. And for Matt Pearce and Brian Stubbs, it would be 3rd place in that class behind Davies. There would be almost a minute gap though between the pair. Ian Evans and Gareth Parry make a good start to the event in Class B. They lead the way there with a significant lead over the chasing crews. And it would be the lead in Class A for Graham Farger and David Oliver. Their lead in that class though wasn't such a big one. In fact, it would be an identical time to Connor Bailey, Bridson and Ian Postlethwaite, 2nd in the class and all to play for on day 2. Scott Flynn and Lee McKinley would be 3rd in that class. They wouldn't be having such an easy day though, hitting a wall on this hairpin, thankfully with no damage. And leading the way in the historic class would be Chris Hayes and Rick Sutcliffe, the BMW pair with a good advantage in that class. So with the first day complete, the results at the top of the 2019 Pokerstars Rally look like this. On to day 2 then, and not only would we get the customary Pokerstars Rally rain, we would also get snow. But that wasn't stopping Aaron Newby and Rob Fagg from pushing on, the lead now up to 55 seconds. That would be due in part to the loss of Jamie Jukes and James Morgan. They go off the road and crash out of the event after fighting for that win once again. That bad news, of course, would promote those behind, and for Stu Bainborough and Paula Swinscoe, it would be a jump up the results into 2nd place overall in the Evo. For Steve Colley and Mark Rodman, it would be 3rd, probably not expecting to be in that place due to only being out in a cheap car this weekend, certainly not the spec they would have been used to. There would be a big push for Martin Jones and Cleon Williams in these stages, in particular the Baldwins, the pair recording their fastest time overall on stage 10, clearly not backing off at all and throwing everything the Nova had into the stages this morning. There would be some good times for Mark Kelly and Neil Coleman, leading the way in Class D. Mark's first time on the island would have been tricky enough in the ice last night. The rain and snow this morning would be a whole new thing. Things were still going to plan for Timmy and Cleona Collins, 4th in the class for now and in 6th place overall. Sadly for the pair, however, they will retire soon afterwards when they crash out in the Druidel stage. We would also lose Andy Davies and Max Freeman. They crash out on the opening stage of the day. This would likely be the last time out in the Subaru before they hope to switch to an R5 car for next season. For John Stone and Charlotte Shimmin, it would be 7th place now. The first time competing together, and things seem to be going well at this stage in the event. And things were still going well for George and Graham Collister. They remain 2nd in the class for now, around 40 seconds back from Mark Kelly in the class leading escort. Craig Jones and Ian Taylor make a move into the top of the results now from that 11th place they held overnight. 9th place would be where the Evo pair lie now as they go into the second half of the day. And rounding out the top 10 would be Kevin Davies and Dylan Jenkins, a little closer to where they would have wanted to be, but there were still some places to chase in the afternoon. Things were not quite going to plan for Matt Pearce and Brian Stubbs. The wipers not working on the Druidel stage, and of course the weather wasn't suited to that kind of problem. They managed to get through the stage and end the morning with 3rd in Class C. This would be the first time on the event for Jamie Crump and Colin Bartle. Things were going well for the pair, moving their way up the results as the event goes on. They would make it up into the top 20, but sadly crash out on the Druidal stage later in the event. For Alan McDowell and Gavin Hesseltine, it would be 12th, the pair going well and holding on to 3rd place in Class D as well for now. Gavin Tyler Roberts and Martin Burns would be finding the stages challenging. Sadly, they would get the better of them in the afternoon, crashing out on the Druidal stage like so many others. No change in Class B, the lead in that class still belonging to Ian Evans and Gareth Parry. The Fiesta pair going well and looking like they wouldn't be caught this weekend. Second in that class would be Kyle Caseman and James Luton. You had to look over 3 minutes back from the class lead to find them though, so they would just have to settle for that place this weekend. And third in the class at this stage would be Andrew and Kaylee Duggan. Sadly, that would all come to an end though in the very next stage when a broken ball joint puts them off the road. There would be change in Class A now as Graham Farger drops down the results, meaning that Connor Bailey-Bridson and Ian Postlethwaite would take the class lead now. A damaged ball joint on the car would cause some issues, but they still keep pushing on. Scott Flynn and Lee McKinley hadn't finished knocking the walls this weekend. They hit another one on stage 10. Thankfully, they keep it going and take second in the class at this stage. And third in that class now would be Michael Dill and Harry Stubbs. The time's a lot closer here, with just 19 seconds between them and Flynn up ahead. In the historic class, it would still be the lead for Chris Hayes and Rick Sutcliffe, and those times certainly didn't look like they would be changing either. For David Marquis and Alan Cathers, it would be second. They were going well and had a significant gap either side of them on the results. And rounding out the historic class would be the little mini of Stephen and Anna Higgins. Not challenging the top of the class, but still going well overall. So with the morning complete, the results on the Pokerstars Rally 2019 are looking like this. On to the final results then, and a look at some of those class finishes. And for Stephen and Anna Higgins, there would be no change in the class. They end the event with third in the historics. For David Marquis and Alan Cathers, it would be second place in that class. No change for the MG pair either this weekend. And of course, taking the win in the class would be Chris Hayes and Rick Sutcliffe. The Class H win and 21st place overall in the BMW. Scott Flynn and Lee McKinley would sadly drop down the results in the afternoon, having to nurse the car home due to engine problems. This would be good news for Graham Farger and David Oliver. Previously our Class A leaders, they dropped down the results now and were able to salvage third place in that class. Second in the class would belong to Michael Deal and Harry Stubbs. A good end to the event for the pair. But taking the class win would be Connor Bailey-Bridson and Ian Postlethwaite. Luckily the pair had a good lead in the class as they spin the car on this hairpin, having to spend valuable time getting it turned back and on the way again. They end the event with that Class A win and 25th overall. In Class B, we would see a bit of a change. John Tear and Robert Turton now stepping up to take third place in that class at the finish. For Kyle Casemate and James Luton, it would be second in that class. A good result, but there was no catching the class leaders. And indeed, the gap had got bigger. Ian Evans and Gareth Parry taking that Class B win, as well as a fantastic 11th place overall. Lost time on the opening night would have been an issue for Paul and Michael McAvoy, a slow puncher damaging their times. They make up some time on day 2 and then the event was 17th overall. Things were not going well for Will Carlisle and Matt Hill. They would spin in front of the cameras on this hairpin, backing the car into the sign. No damage, thankfully, but they do need to tidy things up. Michael Harbour and Ian McDougall had been having problems of their own. They hit a rock after a previous car had had an accident, damaging the sump guard and steering arm. Thankfully, they get it to the finish though. In Class C, it would be third place for Matt Pearce and Brian Stubbs. The pair thankfully now with working wipers. Unfortunately, we would lose John Stone and Charlotte Shimmin, retiring the Fiesta on stage 14 of the event after a good run. On to the top 10 then, and it would be a good weekend for Alan McDowell and Gavin Hesseltine, taking third place in Class D as well as 10th overall. For Kevin Davies and Dylan Jenkins, it would be 9th. The escort pair ended the event with second place in Class C as well. Running down the order a little meant that Craig Jones and Ian Taylor would lose a few stages due to accidents up ahead, but when the pair were running, the times were good. 8th place overall for the pair. Steve Orman-Smith and Elish Baxter make a last-minute move up the results to take 7th place overall. Their event coming together nicely in the final stages this weekend. It would be a good result for George and Graham Collister in the BMW, enjoying themselves this weekend and taking 6th place overall as well as 2nd in class. Stu Bainborough and Paula Swinsko would have a bit of a moment in the Druidal stage in the afternoon, and with Manx championship points in mind, they would back off a little and drive for a good finish. They end the event with 5th place overall and 3rd in the class. It would be a fantastic result for Martin Jones and Cleon Williams this weekend. 4th place overall amongst some much more powerful machinery, and with a 2-minute lead in Class C as well. On to the podium places, and it would be 3rd for Steve Colley and Mark Rodman. They had the bug again and would hopefully be out on more events in the future. Mark Kelly and Neil Coleman would set some fast times in the afternoon, fastest on a couple of stages in fact. They take the Class D win as well as 2nd place overall. But there would be no change at the top of the results. Aaron Newby and Rob Fagg taking the win this weekend. It wasn't plain sailing, and sailing being the operative word with some of the puddles on the stages. The pair have a bit of a moment on the Druidal stage, but thankfully get away with it to continue and take victory. So before we chat with our winner, let's take a look at those final overall results here on the 2019 Pokerstars Rally. Congratulations, Aaron. I mean, this is exactly where you wanted to finish this event, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, we didn't really expect it too much. And today we're just going to see what Dukes' pace was like. We had a really good run through the first Drudale. Unfortunately, it got cancelled. The second one, we lost him. So from there on out, it was just keep the pace as we are and maintain the guys behind us. But yeah, I didn't expect to be here now, so I'm really happy.
And the conditions have not been kind to anyone. How have you found them?
I think we've had everything, you know, from the ice last night, the floods, the rain. It's been absolutely mad. But to be fair to Rob, it's kept me on my toes all weekend. So wherever it's been bad, he's been there. So I can't complain on that, you know.
And Rob, you're up there when it comes to local knowledge. So for you, did you expect where it was bad? Was it where you expected it to be bad, or was it a bit of a shock?
Well, on the record, it was really wet, so we got a lot of the big water in. Had some local friends helping, so thanks to Lucas, one of the photographers, he was giving us all the ice notes last night on the last stage, which was good. But no, it's always tough in these conditions, and Pokerstars just seems to get worse or throw something different every year. And to be honest with you, it's a big credit to all the marshals and everyone out there, because it's cold in the car, never mind stood out, but we just got on with the job, and unfortunately we lost Jamie, and Aaron drove well in the conditions, just kept it straight and narrow, and that was well. mostly straight and narrow. There was one moment, but that's about it. So yeah, we're happy enough to get to the finish.
Might have to hear about that moment now, Aaron.
Yeah, it was over Drewdale on the, I forgot what stage it was today. I think it was the second one over it. And to be fair to Rob, he said care 4 left, and I thought, yeah, a bit of care. And honestly, the car was just a tank slapper. I'll give you the in-car, you can enjoy it, but Jesus, it was some moment.
So, fantastic event for you really, Steve. How's it been being back in the car?
It's been fantastic, to be honest. Last night I wasn't so sure when it went icy and it was a bit sketchy out there. But today it's been brilliant. Mark and I have had a really good laugh. We got back together after about 5 or 6 years. It's my first rally in 4 years, and it's been fun. Yep, it's all about skids and slides, and we've had plenty of those.
Did you have any favourite stages or stages that you absolutely hated today?
I think it's got to be Drewdale, hasn't it?
Yeah, Drewdale's all rally Drewdale's been amazing, but I think the second loop was the
driest.
Yeah, so yeah, Drewdale easily.
Definitely.
And Steve listened to you, did he?
Most of the time, yeah. I think I've heard more out of Steve whilst I've been giving the notes than on any other rally. His kind of feedback constantly has been, just non-stop. But that's just the conditions.
And I suppose the big question is, how are you now feeling about potentially coming back next year?
Yeah, I'd love to. I think Mark would like maybe to sit in it and do some more, and I would like to maybe move on this car and get something a little better again, and just start moving up the ladder a bit car-wise. Get bored very quickly. That's one rally it can go now, and come back and have some fun, because I have missed it being away. And just that adrenaline rush today was just fantastic. When a stage is flowing and when the co-driver's on it and you're bouncing all over the road, hanging on for dear life, it's what it's all about.
Well, Martin, that was another pretty incredible performance. Have you had a good weekend?
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah. Really enjoyed the conditions and that, driving to my ability and all the rest, and it's not nice for everybody and marshals and that, but this is the only way it gives me a chance of trying to get up there a bit further, rather than it being dry conditions and everything and everyone kind of fizzles away in the 4-wheel drives. But no, I've really enjoyed it, and this car's been absolutely bob on, thanks to my friend James here at M&K Automotive. If it wasn't for him, the car wouldn't be here now, and it's nice to come back away from actually getting it prepped and letting me mate prep it and getting it 100%. There's less stress on me, and just had a good rally. I've not had a good rally like this for a long time, so no, I've really enjoyed it. It's been grand, yeah.
Was there any more that you could have given today to get up there?
There could have been here and there little bits, but that's pretty much to the max. That is, you can always go that little bit quicker here and there, but the way the standing water's there, you come around the corner and then you see it and you're aquaplaying, and you touch and go all the time. But in the little 2-wheel drive, you're just pushing it beyond its limit all the time, and we get to the end, you're in with a good result, and it's not a bad result, I think. So yeah, it's all right.
So that brings us to the end of the Pokerstars Rally 2019, and the island really has thrown everything at the crews this weekend. They've had snow, they've had ice, they've had rain, but Aaron Newby and Rob Fagg have taken the win, and that's it for us from the island, but we'll be back here for the National in May.